Laura,
Hi.
are you excited?
Yes.
Tell me why you're excited, Laura.
We have all the things coming.
We have all the things coming. Do you want to tell this lovely audience what things we have coming? Because I am very, very titillated.
Well, can I tell you the first thing that's happening? We're
Yes.
going to Bali.
We are going to Bali.
We're going to go to like the tropical nature. Beautiful island. I'm so excited.
So excited. And we are
Can't
going to be shooting 4 episodes there, which will take us all the way through November. Well, I am in Australia, and unfortunately we'll be separated again, but we get to watch each other every week.
Separated,
and I'll make love
but
to
not.
you in my mind.
We're going to use our toys.
And coming up in the new year, January 4 through 7, we will be at the AVN Expo show. We have a booth for the podcast and for me and my merch, so you can come and hang out and meet Laura and I. So
come
get excited for that. It's January 4 through 7 at Resorts World in beautiful Las Vegas. So we hope to be able to see you guys there. We are going to be having meet and greets, live interviews. We are going to have merch. All the merch that you guys have been waiting and wanting to see and buy, it's going to be available first at the convention. And then we're figuring out some new things for the new year as well. So stay tuned, and we hope that you guys will join us at the convention.
Get your tickets.
Get your tickets. There will be a ticket in all of the descriptions, whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're listening on an audio platform. Just check the description for where you can get your tickets. We hope to see you there.
Yeah.
Mwah. Yeah, and I just sat against the door because I was like, maybe no one will see me here and not like call the cops. Like, there's this random stranger with like a bag full of shoes sitting outside this empty house. We don't know what's going on.
I don't know if she's selling shoes. What is she doing?
What's in the bag? Welcome back, one and all. Thank you for listening. If you're new here, this is the Totally Wholesome, Not Dirty podcast, and I'm your host, Molly Stewart. We define wholesome a little differently here, and my guests span everywhere from the adult industry to the vanilla side of humanity. If you haven't, please consider subscribing. Word of mouth is what helps this podcast grow. So share with a friend, leave a comment, download an episode, or anything you can to help with the algorithm. I release episodes every Monday, and if you're subscribed, you'll never miss an episode. You don't want to miss out on all the crazy conversations that evolve here. But that's enough from me, and let's get to today's guest. Welcome back to the Totally Wholesome, Not Dirty podcast. I am your host, Molly Stewart, abandoned today by Laura for her work.
Unbelievable.
It is, isn't it? I'm gonna go take a job. I'm gonna go make some money.
Right? Who needs money?
Who needs money? Nobody needs money. You guys don't need money, do you? Out there listening, the audience?
Hugely overrated.
Hugely overrated. But I do love Laura, and she does want to make money, and I totally understand that. But luckily, joining me today, I have returning guest Eva Long, who you guys probably remember as my mom from Stepsisters and Molly Stewart XXX parody.
Always the mom.
Always the mom. You're like, I just want to be the daughter once. Just
once. Not really.
But you play such a good mom.
You know, I embrace it.
Yeah. You have to. I mean, you look the part. You have like the good, caring, like nurturing voice and persona, and you just look like a nice mom.
Well, little do you know.
Little do you know. What's like some of the dirtier content that you make for those who don't know? Like as far as like what kind of role do you play with the mom? Like when you make your own content, basically.
Yes, stepmom a lot to, you know, the stepson or the stepdaughter, the aunt as well. The aunt. The naughty aunt.
The naughty aunt.
The aunt that's just ready to get down, I guess. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Do you shoot more of your own stuff or do you shoot more for companies?
My own stuff, yeah. Yeah, I really only I'm on set for like companies, like hardly ever.
Yeah, me too. I like working like kind of your own schedule. I mean, it's kind of your own schedule when you shoot for mainstream because you can tell them which days that you're free or whatever, but you can't necessarily just rework it as easily as well and kind of make sure that it is everything that you want it to be.
Right.
So, like, what kind of content have you been shooting this year? Because we haven't even seen each other since the last time you were here because we've both been so busy.
Right. So
tell me, Mom.
Well, darling. Why don't you sit on my lap?
Don't take my internet away again.
Yeah, so pretty much for like mainstream companies, I only do girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I really only shoot for girlfriends.
Alex Cole was saying that she shoots for girlfriends too, and I hadn't really heard of them before she mentioned it to me, but I don't also really like consume a bunch of porn myself, at least not anymore, because
Your eyes, you're like,
because it's like, you know, everyone. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Greg, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I know you.
right, right. I like know you. Yeah. Yeah, no, girlfriend, I mean, you know, girl porn all the way, you know, kind of a staple in that genre. And you know, I'm lazy and they're here in Vegas, and so no, I'm not lazy. I just don't like to really,
You're not lazy.
I don't
Clearly,
really like
if
to
you're
travel.
If you're making all of your own content, you're not lazy, because that's a lot of work.
Right. Yeah.
Do you do like your own editing and stuff like that as well, or do you have like
No,
someone for that?
I have someone that helps me out and charges very little, and I really I do a lot of solo for my like OnlyFans and stuff like that. So I, you know, it's because I'm kind of just, you know, this is my 8th year in the industry, and for the past 3 years, I've really only done girl on set, and then just my own content, and most of it is solos because it's easy. I like to be able to control it, and you know, I ask the guy, you know, the fan base.
Because in mainstream, you don't get to pick your performer typically either.
Right.
You can have requests, but
right. And there's a huge, you know, tangent I can go on as well. It's just, I don't know. I don't want to say quality. I feel like that sounds harsh, but I guess that's the only word I can think of. The quality of talent that kind of has been out there the past few years has just been not quite where, you know, in terms of like hygiene and just appearance and things like that. It's just like, that's why I'm just like more focused on my own stuff, I think.
I haven't shot that much mainstream. I think I've shot like one scene I shot in 2020, and then I shot one scene this year.
Okay.
But I haven't really been involved in it. But some of the people that I talked to seem to be that some companies are trying to get people who are more famous on like social media, right? But they have like their content creation stuff. So it's like you're kind of bringing in a group of people who's maybe either newer to that or so used to doing it on their own that when they're brought like as a celebrity onto set, it's kind of like, well, this is how I do everything all the time, so this is just how it is. It's kind of the vibe that I've heard from some people, but I haven't personally experienced that. But
yeah, I have heard that as well. I've seen that from a distance, not in a scene with someone. But I feel like, you know, in the couple years that everything was kind of shut down, and I think once things started to open back up, I think a lot of the solid, like real business oriented, like take it serious performers weren't necessarily rushing to get back on set. I think they were all they all found these other avenues.
It's like having I was just talking with a friend about this off air, but it's like once people realize, oh, like I don't need the companies as much as I thought I did.
Right.
It's like, yes, maybe a large portion of the fan base came from the promotion of that site or the scenes on that site or whatever, but at the end of the day, they were a fan of them.
Right.
So they found it, you know, viable to be able to kind of like capitalize on their brand rather than like riding off of the mainstream brands.
Right.
Which, if you actually care about the job and you care about like earning a living and being able to retire eventually, it's like that's a much better move for a lot of people.
It's kind of the only move.
Yeah. Like, it's funny because I feel like I did like, and I have nothing against shooting mainstream. I really don't. I know that, you know, I've said, oh, I don't shoot anymore, but I do shoot, and it's fun to shoot, and it's good for promotion, and it's fun to be on set, and it's fun to reconnect with people.
Right.
But I don't feel the need to do it all the time.
Right.
And then it's more of an enjoyable experience when you do get to be a part of that, but it also helps kind of, I think, show you a better way or alternate ways or just other ideas of how to shoot your own content on your own as well. So it's still like a valuable option, but it's like wasting all of your day, I shouldn't say wasting, but spending all of your day on set for someone else's production that you get a one-time fee for and then never see anything else out of it.
Yeah.
When you could have spent all of that time, probably made 7 videos that you get to see revenue on for as long as you choose to sell them.
Right. Yeah,
You know?
it's a no-brainer. So, when I think there's always an influx and there's always a lot of young girls that are always, obviously it's saturated, with performers. And I saw that was really the case, when I would step in to do mainstream. I was like, wow, there's just so many new faces, and they're being, especially with girl, it's always the older, younger. So you're being paired with these newer performers who like are just so new. And
Yeah, very green.
Very green. And, I don't know if it's the agents or, what the deal is, but they're not quite preparing these young ladies for just anything, it's just like, keep it together. But yeah, so, I think doing your own stuff is just way better.
Yeah, no, I feel like since the pandemic and stuff, I feel like I've gotten back to more of my roots of camming, which is like, camming isn't necessarily for me anymore, but definitely that's how I started in the industry. It's how I was able to get a contract at all. Sorry, it's Laura.
Oh,
let's see if she's
the working lady. Right.
Oh man, no, she's got to be up at 2:30 a.m. tomorrow for a look, and she's still not done on set, so it's just going to be you and me. I'm not letting you leave.
I'm trapped.
But she's like, so getting into shooting mainstream was fun after like doing camming and doing everything on my own for so long. But by the time I went in, I already like knew how to shoot my own content. I knew the fan base that I had. I knew ways to advertise myself, because you have to do that on your own when you're just a cam model. Like, how else would anybody know who you are?
Right.
Especially like, I feel like back then, like, camming wasn't as big of a knowledge. It felt a lot more anonymous and stuff like that, and I think it still is much more, obviously, than porn.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of like not shooting for mainstream all the time. I'm like, oh, I'm getting back to like really creating my own content and like nurturing my own brand and like making the time to do the things that I want to do. And it's kind of cool because it helps me be able to kind of like, I guess, reclaim all the things that I loved about the job and then shift them in a way that kind of changes with who I am now, which is a lot better. I think.
love it.
Yeah. And I think more people would benefit from being able to do that. I feel like one of the problems though is like just time, for a lot of people, because it takes time to build a brand.
Yeah.
And if you don't have years and years and years to like sit on cam and like go through Instagram after Instagram and, do all that kind of stuff, then you need something like an agent or, a mainstream company to kind of like push that out there. But it's like, but then prepare people, isn't that kind of like the job of agents or managers or whatever you want to call it in a way should be to kind of like, not just, but I feel like that's how they are, is like they see whoever's coming at them. And I'm sure this is not all of them, but there's a reason I don't have an agent. It's because of many horror stories that I've heard from other people. Not horror stories, horror stories. So, but like, and I'm sure some of them have good intentions and they treat their clients very well. But a majority of what I've heard is it's like, you are a paycheck.
Yeah.
And it's like, we will give you as much work or as little work as we deem necessary.
Right.
You don't get a say in that. And you can't book outside without our help, because then we don't get a cut. It's like, oh, so if I go outside on my own because you're not getting me the work that I need, then I'm penalized.
Right.
And then
Which
what?
is
Like, what do I have to do? Yeah. And it's just ridiculous. It's like, what you should be doing is helping to prepare new talent who typically are young and don't have any idea necessarily about the kind of job that they're getting into or how to be safe in it or how to take care of themselves mentally or physically and all of that kind of stuff when it comes with a job that's using your body constantly.
Yeah. Well, how about just looking back at your content and going, I looked the best I could look.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about necessarily like makeup. I'm talking about like your body and like shaving properly and like having your nails done. If you're going to be naked on camera, don't you want these things to look good?
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy. Yeah, no, and they don't care. It's just there's 10 other girls ready to go,
Yeah, it's nice to be able to be selective with who you work with, and it's not like, oh, these people are so bad or this or that, but it's like, but your time, when you attribute value to your time, you're kind of like, well, why is this worth my time to have to deal with someone who doesn't respect what we're doing?
Right.
Like, it's not just a job, it's also sex.
Right.
There has to be some level of mutual respect involved for both parties who are participating in a sex scene, whether it's work or not.
Exactly. And
like, especially when it's work.
Yeah, and you can, right, especially
especially then. Like,
and yeah, to give a good performance, it's like, you're just acting anyway. Well, hold on a minute. My acting or my performance, or however you want to word it, is going to be so much better if this person is at least showing that they care about.
But also, I would also like to say that in many aspects outside of the adult industry, many women are acting. Okay? So it's kind of like, does it matter either way?
And not just women, all walks of life.
Some guys fake it. I know, I've heard from guys who have said that they've faked it just to be like not offensive. I came, and just throw away the condom, the empty little condom over there. Like,
I came.
That was so good.
Let me get rid of that real quick.
I'm gonna go jerk off in the bathroom.
Can you get out of here?
Oh, don't you just hate it when you have to finish yourself off?
I love it. Anyways, yes. So, but yeah, I've probably shot this year half a dozen times.
Half a dozen?
On a mainstream set. And that's it. So,
yeah.
I stopped traveling to LA back when,
Oh, God, things were so crazy there. I know many people who have migrated out of LA, people who said that they would never leave LA, and they have left LA. Because,
right. They're either here or they're in Florida.
Yeah. Texas, some of them.
Texas, some of them. Yep. I just didn't want to deal with, I don't know. It's a different animal when you go over to LA. It just is.
Yeah, it is. I can't say that I ever felt necessarily safe in LA. I remember this one time, like, I Ubered to set, and I was a little bit early, but not that early to call time. Like, I thought, like, maybe 10, 15 minutes early. And I show up and nobody's there. Then at first I couldn't get a hold of anyone. So I'm just standing out there, like, in my clothes, holding my bag with, like, my high heel shoe options sticking out the top of them because no one can find shoes in my size. And, like, this is really awkward. I'm just, like, standing outside of an empty house in a neighborhood that I don't know anyone. And it wasn't, like, a horrible neighborhood, but the street over wasn't so great.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm just standing there like, do I call an Uber back? Do I walk to a Starbucks? Like, what do
I do here?
And I was just like, sit on the step. Like, I sat, you know how sometimes you walk up to a house and you have like the entryway that is fully enclosed on three sides between the door?
Yeah.
And I just sat against the door because I was like, maybe no one will see me here and not like call the cops. Like, there's this random stranger with like a bag full of shoes sitting outside this empty house. We don't know what's going on.
I don't know if she's selling shoes. What is she doing?
What's in the bag?
Oh, I love it.
Have you ever had like any like really horrendous time on set? Like anything that kind of sticks out as like weird or, anything that's kind of just like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, I shot for this. It's like a MILF thing all over. I forget what they called it now. It was a while back. So I show up and it's just an apartment, and they got like a little kitchen area here and everything set up for like, you can tell where they're like shooting, and then there's like the roommate section, like there's two guys living there, and this guy's like shooting everything. Well, he's like, it's gotta be a minute because I'm waiting for some parts for the camera to show up, and I'm like, oh god, here we go. This isn't good.
For parts of
for the camera to show up.
So where are the parts? They usually stay together.
Like, I got the camera. Hey, whatever.
He's like, I decided that today I was going to pursue my dream of building a camera from scratch. And part of the fun is that you all get to stand here and watch me do it while I waste your time for $600.
Right, exactly.
For 12, maybe 15 hours.
Yes. And so this is like third year of being in the industry. And I'm just like, no, like, I don't deal with, if something's going wrong and I can tell, I'm just like on the phone with my agent immediately. Yeah. So I'm like on the phone. I'm like, so this is already not good. And I think this might have been my second or third day in LA, and I'm leaving to drive back to Vegas after this shoot. That's the plan. And I need to leave at like a good time.
Yeah.
It's been established, right? So I'm on the phone with her, and I'm just like letting her know. I'm like, look, this is what's going on, and if these parts don't show up here soon, or whatever it is we need to do. So, you know, they talk now. Now she's talking to him. Blah, blah, blah. So some other camera comes out, you know, out of nowhere. We start shooting. We're doing pics. We're supposed to do. Yeah, that one was built last week. So we're doing pics. Then it's going to be video, right? Yada yada yada. So we're going on and on. We're doing it. We're getting pictures done, and you know, there's a knock on the door. This part ends up showing up, you know, and he's trying to put it together, do whatever he's doing. I don't even know. Of course, it's giving him trouble, and so I'm like, you know what? I'm done, because now he's been fiddling with this for like an hour and a half, you know, and so I'm like,
this one piece.
This one piece.
He forgot everything he learned the week before.
Right. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gone, because this is supposed to be tons of pictures with like 3 solos, right? Mm-hmm. We've just gotten to pictures, and you know, there's been no video yet, and who knows what time it is. And I was ready to leave when I showed up, right? So I'm like, I gotta go. I'm sorry. This story kind of gets sad now that I'm speaking out loud about it. Oh, no. So,
David, cue sad music.
Right, cue sad music. There is a death in the family here. So not in the family, but
whose family?
So we're working. This guy's strange. You know, he's constantly going in and out, making weird phone calls, whatever. So I call it finally. I'm like, I'm done.
Like,
you
too
know,
weird.
I was like,
time.
This is too weird. Honestly, had I known much about this, you know, I just kind of got booked on the tail end of this, you know, I probably wouldn't have accepted it, because it was kind of nonsense. So I'm like, sorry, man, but I got to go. I'm in a jet. So, you know, we figured out something, you know, payment wise with my agent and him, and she dealt with it. I'm on my merry way. Needless to say, this guy had been, you know, he was a bigger man. He was sweating constantly. It just was like uncomfortable, just odd behavior. I don't remember this man's name, and may he rest in peace, because the next day this guy was found dead.
What?
Yes. Like, he didn't wake up. Like, his roommate like tried to wake him up, and he just was like, he was dead.
Oh my God.
So I get this phone call from my agent, and she's like telling me about this, and I'm like, I'm trying to think back. I'm like, I wasn't mean to him, right? Like, I did, you know, because I'm feeling terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this was just an odd day altogether, and I called it. And I kind of felt weird and strange and bad, but obviously I think this man was struggling with some, you know, depression and like health issues and whatever was going on.
Goodness.
But I think, you know, after I started thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? It was just best that like I was out of there, and nothing more escalated, or he didn't have some kind of problem.
Yeah, like a stroke or something like while you're there. Like,
yeah, oops. Probably one of the oddest days I've had. And then was very wild and very sad, and was like, how am I supposed to feel about this?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, well, it's a weird segue. But speaking about
right, where do you go from there?
Speaking about fitness and how it pays to be healthy.
Don't do drugs, kids.
I'm sorry. I see that you post some fitness content as well.
Yes, I do. You know, I really took on fitness.
On your path after that, you were like, God damn it! I do not
be
want
healthy.
to die in my sleep. I need to live.
Yes, to live on. Yes. Yeah.
What kind of fitness stuff do you do? Like, is it like just kind of like keeping healthy, like yoga type stuff, or do you do any type of lifting, or what's kind of your speed?
Just to let you know, you're a huge inspiration.
Oh, thank you.
You really are.
You think I'm huge?
For all the haters out there, because I see some of the shitty people out there say weird shit.
People are shitbags everywhere. People were shitbags when I wasn't muscular too, so it's like...
Oh, no, girl, you're like, your body's insane. Such an inspiration. But yeah, so I don't go to the gym. I have my garage is like my gym. And Instagram, like, right? There's all these like videos. You just like search whatever, like part of your body you want to work. And like I found a couple of these females that like are just crushing, and they have these videos of, you know, whatever they're doing. So I use some light weights, not a lot, nothing too heavy. I usually use body weight against my.
Yeah, body weight is fantastic. That's what I started with. Yep. That's what I've done most of my life, and then more intensely. And then I was like, now I need more weight.
Right? Yeah.
But body weight is awesome, and it's great because you can do it like from home. That's what I did like during the whole pandemic. Yeah. And like I have a gym membership. I don't actually go that often. It's like I go if I want to, you know, just get out of the house for once, but I like to work out at home mostly. Just like mostly body weight, you know, some weight for squats and stuff like that.
Right. But, yeah, like I like yoga, but I usually just incorporate that into like stretching and stuff kind of at the end of my workout and more. I was doing an app for a little while called HIIT. It's like HIIT, and you just kind of plug in all your information, and you know, you say that you're like at home, so you're not using equipment, and it does the body weight against you. And I did that for quite a while, and then you just kind of get bored, so you start looking, and you know, I like to make it something that it's like I think about, like I try to keep different pieces of like light equipment that I have, because I have a lot of home gym stuff from a company called Base Blocks, and so it's like little mini bars for like in the house, little parallettes, you know, a little bench thing to do like Nordic curls and, you know, stuff like that. But if I keep those around, then if I'm like sitting down on the couch like watching something or playing, I look at stuff and I'm like, I can do that while I watch this, you know, and then I start to feel like, I love it.
Like, oh, I should be doing this. It's sitting there unused.
That's awesome. I don't ever do that. Just so you know.
Well, that's just what
but now I'm inspired.
One of my favorite things is like in the evening, just like put on a show like baking or a comedy special or something, and I just stretch. Just move the little coffee table and just, yes. That's helped so much. I haven't been to the chiropractor in over a year and a half now that I've been like consistent with stretching. And if I don't stretch, I can tell like the next day I'll be sore in areas that I wouldn't normally be that sore in. And I'm
an old lady, so if I don't stretch, I'm like literally like hunched over. I'm like, oh. Yeah, like my stretching is probably almost as long as my actual workout routine.
I think it feels nice though, like, and it also is kind of a very light workout on your body. Like you are stretching the muscles, you're putting them in motion, and it's like, and the flexibility and just how good you feel after, and like especially the next day, like to wake up in the morning and not be like like crumpled. I remember there would be some mornings that I would wake up and I do have scoliosis. I have a weird little neck thing, like no big deal. But I'm always used to having some like varying level of just back soreness or whatever. But some mornings I would wake up and I would not be able to turn my head further than this.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I would have to go to the chiropractor, and then I would still be in pain. Like it helps relieve some of it, but it doesn't like, and then they would always be like, make sure you stretch it out afterwards. And of course I never would.
You're like, okay.
I don't have time to stretch. Yeah. I have Netflix to watch. I can't possibly do that at the same time. So dumb. And now that I'm like, you know, I'll do something random and like my knee just cracks out of nowhere. I was telling this to Laura the other day because I was like, am I gonna die? Am I gonna be fine? I can't really tell. And then it felt so good afterwards at the same time. It's like, oh, I am aging.
Oh yeah, no, that's how I was at first. I would be like, I do like a really awesome workout, and then I wouldn't stretch, and I wake up the next day and I was be like, you know, one of these people. And so I'm
like when you would drink like super heavily and like not drink water, you know, you'd forget. Or like, but you know, when you do that and you're 21, you're completely fine. Try that when you're 30. It's not
not okay. Just like I want to die.
I remember like I swear one of the reasons I quit drinking is that for the first time in my life I started getting hangovers. Yeah. Like I never really, I was like, what's a hangover? You throw up from alcohol? I've never thrown up, you know, because my body doesn't do that. I've trained it.
You don't throw up?
No. Yeah. Instead I choose to just excavate it a different way.
Okay. So something happens.
Yeah.
It's just,
vomit doesn't work with me. But I don't know what I was saying. I started thinking about pooping.
What are you talking about? Not drinking. Not drinking.
Not drinking. But I swear I started getting hangovers and I had never had a headache, like nothing like that. And then I started waking up and actually feeling like shit. And I was like, oh. And like, I remember the first time my man, like over the phone, suggested to me that I might be hungover. And I was like, what?
Excuse me?
That happens to me?
What'd you call me?
What did you call me? How dare you? I do get hangovers.
Right. So when was this that this happened?
Started getting hangovers probably like it would have been early 2020 is when I started getting hangovers.
Okay.
And it took me a while to quit, but then I quit. It's been like 2 years now, so that would be the time.
Nice job, girl.
Thank you.
Yeah, I stopped drinking. I think I've been done now for like 5 years. Yeah, I think like 5 years, something like that.
It feels so good. Like it's funny. It's nice to hear that actually, because I say this sometimes, but I speak in terms when I speak about drinking like everyone has the problems that I had with it.
Right?
I'm like, isn't not drinking amazing? And people are like, no, it's pretty fun sometimes, in moderation.
I know, right?
And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So people drink, have fun with it, cool. I can't.
Right. No, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Sometimes saying that you don't drink is like
it's weird. Like people are like
saying,
"What, you don't know how to have fun?" I'm like, no, I have way too much fun.
Right. Like if I was
way too much fun for days on end. Like
if I was in like a normal setting, I would probably admit I do porn over not drinking. Do you know what I mean? Like in a group setting where like total normal people, because if you say you don't drink, like sometimes it's like, what?
Yeah. Why, you got a problem? Yeah, I do.
Like, yeah. No, it's just like,
I remember someone asked me, they were like, so why did you quit drinking? And I was like, well, because I was an alcoholic.
Right? Oh, I was an alcoholic.
I'm like, that's pretty much it. Like, that was what it came down to. I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But I feel like, like some people who did have problems with alcohol, and this is like nothing against them because I totally get that why they say this, but they don't want to admit that it like was a problem. It's like, oh, just like for my health or whatever. And it's like, I totally get that. Like,
right.
But there's a reason that people do quit, whatever that is. But I feel like a lot of people aren't open with talking about it because it's something that's so like prevalent in all of society. So prevalent. And it's like, that's got ads on TV. Can you imagine like marijuana ads on TV?
Right.
When we need that.
Let's get on that, can we please?
Let's get on that.
Whoever's listening.
Come on, Cannovative. Right. But it's everywhere. Like, and when I was quitting, it got to the point where I wouldn't go to the store for a while. I would just like DoorDash groceries, which on the surface to people who maybe don't understand how it is to deal with that sounds like maybe really wasteful or just lazy, but it wasn't. It's just that when I was alone in my house by myself, separated from my boyfriend, going through a divorce, dealing with depression, not going to therapy yet.
Right.
If I went to the grocery store right at the front of the frickin' Albertsons, right by the yogurt, which I love so much and buy every time, there's alcohol. Like, just bottles and bottles, so many opportunities to fuck up your day.
Oh yeah.
And you're just like, I could fuck up today.
Let's do it.
I could fuck it up.
And I can have yogurt.
And I can have yogurt. It'll taste even better with sadness.
What alcohol goes good with yogurt?
A nice rosé.
Right. How about a White Claw? Anybody?
But it was hard because I would see that, or I would like, that, and then there was a few times where I quit, and then I was like, oh, but I've been good. Like, I haven't drank for a month. Like, I'll drink now. It's like, well, that doesn't work either, because then you have a whole another month of like cycling through the same shit that you were just like detoxing from, you know. And that's basically what it is. Then it's just like a micro detox. It's not like, oh, I quit, because if you quit, you quit.
You quit, you're done.
You have to be done.
You have to be done. Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I had a problem, or I would say I did have a problem when I was younger, because, I was in the restaurant business a long time, so I bartended, and I bartended at like mom and pop places and stuff like that, where it was like customary to drink with
Mm-hmm.
the
With the
customers.
clients, yeah.
Yeah, they would like buy you shots and stuff. So when I was younger, I definitely had a problem. And then as I got older and things like that, I completely had it under control, I guess, whatever you could say. It wasn't like I was getting drunk all the time kind of thing. And then it got to the point where I was just having like a couple beers or a couple glasses of wine. And I was like, this is just, it's silly. Why even bother? Right. And I have a daughter. And so I was like, I really just, alcohol is very dangerous, and it's so like socially acceptable, like you're talking about. Everywhere you go, I feel like every event or social event is,
It's like, well, it's a social lubricant.
Yeah,
and it's like, yeah, but not always and not usually in a fantastic manner.
No.
And I'm not like, oh, alcohol is just the devil and nobody should drink.
No.
Because but the problem is when you try to have kind of open conversations about alcohol, especially as people who may have abused it, and have that experience, you try to explain it to other people, and you can maybe have people who don't want to admit that they also have a problem.
Right.
So it's like a lash out, or just people who are like, well, what, like I can't drink around you? It's like, no, not necessarily. But if you couldn't, like, why do you need to drink around me?
Right. Is it?
Am I that unbearable to be around? Maybe we shouldn't be friends.
I don't think we should. Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
you can drink, I'll smoke, like whatever. It doesn't bother me. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you're drinking whiskey right now. Like, it's not like that. It's just like, I know, especially after being removed from it for a certain time, how good I feel not on it, how much more reasonable and sound I feel in my mind and with myself as a person.
Right.
Like when I was drinking, it wasn't like, oh, I'm drinking to have a good time. I was drinking to numb everything in my brain.
Right.
Like I
did
didn't
that.
want to think about all the horrible thoughts that were in my mind. I didn't want to deal with my depression. I didn't want to deal with all of the mental issues I was having. I didn't want to address any of the trauma. I was very happy to just wallow in my pit of whiskey and wine and sit there and bemoan about, how, horrible my life had been and how it would always be horrible and what a piece of shit I was. And you know what that got me? Depression. So it's not, and I already had depression, and all it did was make it like a monster that I didn't think that I could ever defeat. Even the few times I would have some days where I would wake up and feel like shit and then be like, well, I'm not going to drink today. I don't think I should drink anymore. Like last night, the things I was saying to myself in the mirror weren't that fantastic.
Right.
Maybe I should just stop. And then it would just be like, I'd start to get a thought that I didn't like. And I was like, well, I can drown it. And it doesn't work, because all it does is it keeps growing while you're just drowning it. It's not like, it's just, it's a whale. You can't drown it. Just keeps growing and getting bigger and bigger and thriving off all that until it bursts out in the most horrible ways. And you're just like, oh, I have actually become the horrible person that I've been dwelling on, like thinking that I am. Like I have become the monster that I was afraid of.
I did the same thing.
And once you see that, and some people never see it, which, I'm very surprised I did. And I luckily had a very good support system of people who helped me realize it in a more positive way that helped it to stop.
Yeah.
But some people don't get that. And it's the hardest thing to like look at yourself in the mirror and actually realize all the victimization that you're doing to yourself is you doing it. Because nothing anybody else does can really affect you any more than you let it. Amen. And if you're letting it affect you in that manner, then it is your responsibility, and no one else is going to be able to do it for you. No one else is going to be able to step in and be like, this is how you change it. This is how you feel better. This is how you get ahead. This is how you get through this. Right. You have to want to get through it and try every single day. And it's so fucking hard. The amount of times like that when I finally did start therapy and got off the phone, I'm just like, oh, I could use a fucking drink.
Right?
And I had quit alcohol before I started therapy, but getting back into therapy, like getting into that and getting into the deepness, like more than the face level of like, let's get to know each other. Once you actually get and they get to know you, it's just re-traumatizing all over again. Right. And it wants to send you right back to the same patterns, which is so easy to do. So that's why I stayed home and didn't go anywhere for like a year.
Proud of you, man. It's hard.
It is hard
work. Yeah.
And I feel like also with quitting alcohol, it can be difficult. And for anyone who's listening, who's ever thought about it, I encourage you to try it and see the people in your life who support it and the people who don't.
Right.
Because especially after going through therapy and quitting it, and then looking back at certain situations where I had told people before I quit drinking that I thought that I might have a problem, or, I don't know if I like who I am on this, and it's like, oh, that's not you, or they would support the decision to quit, but as soon as I was ready to relapse, they were there to encourage it.
Yikes.
And it's like, well, yeah, you did this amount of time, or you're fine, or it's not you're not the problem. It's like, I'm not every single problem in my life, but I'm part of it.
Right.
I'm part of the problem because I'm still continuing on this path, and you're not actually showing real support as a friend.
Right.
It really made me realize who my real friends are.
Yeah, that's an eye-opener.
Which
right
is
there.
like, whoa. Oh, I didn't know alcohol was the only thing keeping us together.
Right. Yeah.
Shit.
It's
maybe I'm not the only one with a problem.
it's right. It's hard to deal with, but sometimes, I don't know, less is more. Right?
Yeah. It's one of those things. I've always heard, if you can count the number of friends on your hand that you have, that's enough. It's enough. It's like anything else is kind of like, it's great to have. But if you have like a core circle of people who you can really depend on and who support you and who will call you out when you're not being your best self, because my ex would call me out for everything, no matter what I did. It was always bad. And so I went through this like path of life thinking like, oh, I am a piece of shit. I just will be a piece of shit. Like, no one cares, no one, whatever. And so that's the kind of...
What's his full name again?
Don't.
I'm kidding.
There's like, I feel bad saying that, like, and I know now, like, going through it, and this is why I talk about these things. Like, I'm sure that there are people who are like, oh, you're just like airing all your dirty laundry. I'm not, because I would never say his name, even though he gave my name out to stalkers of mine after the divorce. And there are... I talk about them because I feel like when I was going through these things, I didn't think that there was any other person who could relate to what I was going through. So even on small opportunities that I tried to talk about it with people that I thought I could trust, it was either used against me or, just discounting everything that I felt, or I just didn't have anyone to talk to. And talking to him about it didn't help because he was perpetrating it all.
Oh my gosh.
But getting through it now and being able to have talked about things with friends and therapy and the podcast and listening to other, podcasts and listening to other people's journeys and, just experiences in life, it makes you feel a lot less alone. So maybe these are like uncomfortable things for some people to hear, but, just scrub through. You don't have to listen to it if it makes you uncomfortable. But I think that the more that you talk about those things, then the more people feel a connection that they might not have otherwise.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I don't hate him as a person. I spent a long time hating him because I was like, in my mind, and a lot of the problems were, yes, from him. And there was a lot of abuse and things like that. But he also had many things in his life that caused him to be the way that he is.
Yeah, abusers
and
are abused.
Yeah, I'm sure that there was a lot of things that I did not know, some things that, I came to find out later and all that, and I have forgiven him. And it's not like, but I can still, but the thing is, it's like, if you can't joke about the past, if you can't have a laugh, you're just gonna cry, right? What I mean? Like, it's better, it's, like laughing at your demons. It's like, I laugh in the face of danger, ha ha ha.
Oh, yeah, but it's true. And when you say demons, it's like, I that's how I think of alcohol. It's like it's called spirits. And like,
it is.
I don't know, for me, like, it might sound crazy, but when I was drinking, I mean, I felt possessed at a lot of times. I've made some of the worst mistakes or decisions or choices, whatever you want to say, in those times where alcohol was such a big part of my life, and so it's because you're depressed, you're angry,
and you're drinking
sad,
a depressant.
And you're drinking a depressant, and I just feel like it kind of like, and it just kind of allows darkness. It just allows and invites darkness for you. So
it does, and it's a lot harder to be rational as well, of course. So when the darkness is presented, it comes out in the most toxic way possible, instead of like having a rational mind and being like, well, I am feeling this way and I need to figure out why, or I need to talk to this person to make it, you know, a more positive outlook, or to understand why this is happening. And whenever with alcohol, it's just rage. It really is. It's just it's like, and I'm sure this is also, like I said, not the same for everyone, but it's kind of like I've heard with people that weed affects some people differently. Some people get very paranoid. Some people don't like the feeling. Some people don't, you know, and they can't do it. And I'm never like, can we not hang out?
Right.
Because I don't know, man. Like, I smoke. Like, if you're not down to like chill, bro. Like,
I mean, that kind of speaks for weed itself, honestly. Because
by the time you told me that, I'm just like, all
right, whatever,
man,
whatever you want to do, man.
In chat, like I was saying, someone told me that, like coke, right? Because I've never done it and I have no desire to do it, but they've done it. So I was like, what's it like, right? And they're like, well, it's kind of like it takes down all of your barriers and filters, and you just like say all the things that you're thinking, whatever. And I was like, oh, for me, that's kind of like weed. Like, so I definitely don't need
I don't need any of that. Get it out of here.
I'm like, that's why I started smoking weed. It's like, figure out how to talk to people, because
that's hilarious. I know.
Like, I used to be like so nervous of it. So like weed was the only thing to like slow down. I just have a racy brain, you know what I mean? And it just goes. And, you know, the only thing that kind of helps me slow down and organize the thoughts and like relax, you know, because that's essentially the thing. I walk around like this, you know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot going on. Making it Let's go. Will I make it? I don't know.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love weed.
Yeah, no, weed is fantastic. We have some nice little art over there.
Yes. Beautiful.
Laura brought that in.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I wish that more people, I guess, could see the benefit, or at least like test. I would just encourage like anybody who's listening, if you are a heavy drinker, like, or even if, yeah, I guess heavier would be like if you're like a once a weekend drinker, like you have a big party week or something like that, I would just encourage you, like, don't quit. Just see how long you cannot drink and see how you feel. Because I will tell you, within the first 2 months, I noticed such a change. And by the 6th month, I felt like an entirely new person. And then I got a perspective, once I hadn't been drinking for about a year, of how long the problem had been going on, more than I had realized that there was a problem.
Right. Then you reflect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it was like maybe this one incident that caused me to really think about it and then be like, okay, done. But until I had the separation from the substance and like had spent all that time away from it and was feeling better and was being more thoughtful and rational and, you know, just mindful in general, then I could look back at all the time spent before that kind of built to that point. Because it's not like, oh, you just suddenly have a problem. It comes from somewhere. It's like a building. But then also that's kind of like therapy. So I encourage you all to go to therapy. I don't know.
Go to therapy, stop drinking, get your life in order.
Honestly, I think that's the biggest thing that I could recommend to anyone, like no matter what age you are. Like I've heard this from so many people when I have mentioned the idea of like therapy or whatever. Well, I'm too old. No, you're not. Like that's a fucking quitter's mentality right there. Like, or are you just ready to die too? Why don't you just die? Like,
you're done, huh? All right.
I'm completely done. I am this person forever. And if that's you, then you really need therapy. Like,
if people are stubborn.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, all the things that you have going on in your life, it's hard to talk to with people that you care about, especially if you don't feel like you want to burden them, or you just know that they have their own stuff going on.
Right.
And it's like, it's great to have those people that, of course, you can vent to about things, but having outside perspective on things from someone who you're paying to speak to as a professional, who doesn't have an invested kind of like look into your life, you know what I mean? It's not like it's not like your boyfriend, it's not your girlfriend, it's not your best friend who don't want to hurt you necessarily, or who know that even whatever they say, there's something you want to hear.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And so it's like maybe they know how you are, and so they'll just tell you the thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, I don't want to hurt you and I don't want to push you away from me. So sometimes you need somebody else to be like, hey, this is bullshit.
Yeah, they like
right
know
now.
you too well. They're like, I know what she would want to hear in this situation. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily that they do it maliciously.
No.
It's just kind of a thing. Like I've had this with friends who I've talked to, post, divorce and all that. And it's kind of like, yeah, I saw the things. And the couple times I mentioned things, that was shut down real quick. So I never brought it up again. And it's just a thing because I still wanted to be in your life. I still wanted to be there when you needed me.
Right.
But you weren't ready for the information that I could have given you anyway.
Right.
And it's like, no one made me go to therapy. It wasn't like, you need to do this. I was bored and lonely. And I was like, well, I'll try BetterHelp. like,
need a friend.
And then it was like, whoa, there's a lot to unpack here. Better keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you can actually confront things. It's yourself. You're almost talking to yourself. It's just
you are, and then it's kind of like having little Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah.
Especially on BetterHelp because it's like on the phone is how I did it because I didn't want to do in person. I tried that before, and it's just so weird feeling and uncomfortable. It's not like a familiar space, and then they're always trying to medicate you and shit. And with that, I was like, well, I don't want to be on camera because then it feels like work. I just got a little phone. Yeah. It's so good.
And I was like, little chat.
It's just like this little, and it's almost like your little subconscious, like telling you things that you already know, but it's like you're maybe not allowing yourself to like consider.
Right.
And like, just it's really about tools, and it's not necessarily something that you need forever. Like I'm currently not in it. And there may be a time that I feel like I need to go back. But I would be totally open to that now based on the experience that I had, because I feel like overall it's just about finding tools in your arsenal for all the bad shit that's going to happen to you, because you're never going to not have bad shit happen to you.
Right.
There's always going to be something bad that happens to you.
Right.
Because that's fucking life. And nothing's perfect, and we don't live in paradise. So
right. And if we can just cut down on those things that help all those bad things just get more traction. Like alcohol. Like let's just get rid of those. Yeah. Oh gosh, the first year that I didn't drink alcohol, I looked in the mirror and I was like, well, hey,
my skin got better. My hair started growing again.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was like, whoa.
I felt like I de-aged. I completely de-aged. I was like, what?
I've had people tell me now, right, that I look at, not like necessarily like younger, but healthier than I did when I was much younger.
Oh, yeah.
And because I've been in the industry almost 10 years now, as far as like being naked online. And I was like, literally, the only thing that changed, like, yes, I'm working out more, but that's also because I stopped drinking.
Right.
Like, I didn't have any idea how bad, like, after the first year, it was literally like, what is this? Like, my skin is good again?
Yeah, I know. I looked at pictures of myself and I was like,
whoa, I can, like, skip Botox this treatment? Like, what's happening? I'm hydrated? Is this what hydration feels like?
No alcohol within 50 feet of the house.
Speaking of hydration, Eva, did you know that one stick of liquid IV dissolved in 16 ounces of water hydrates faster and more effectively than water alone with the help of CTT technology?
I did know that, but I like that reminder. Thank you.
So Eva has the green apple probiotic kombucha.
It's fabulous.
From Liquid IV. I didn't know they had one, honestly. I went online to order some more. I was like, kombucha. And it's actually really, really good.
It's fabulous.
I was telling Laura, because we tried it the other day, I was like, if you mixed it into like a seltzer water, then it would be like an actual kombucha you buy from the store.
Absolutely.
It'd be awesome. So if you want to experience better hydration today, go to liquidiv.com and use code TWND to save 15% and get free shipping. And, it's really good. I really drink it every day. I have no shame in saying that because I drank it every day before they sponsored the podcast. So, like, especially in Vegas and heat, if you work out, if you do anything, if you drink, you're probably dehydrated.
Right. If you drink.
So if you drink and you want to be hydrated, and probably, honestly, I will say, as someone who drank excessively, these help with hangovers. Drink one of these before you go to bed if you're going to drink, and you'll feel pretty good the next day.
The thing is will you remember?
Will you remember? I don't know. I used to have sober me prepare things for drunk me before bed so that it was easier. And sometimes I would get to them.
That's amazing.
Like you lay out like your skincare stuff like prominently. You're like, wash your face. And sometimes I'd wake up and it was washed. And sometimes it's like, makeup's all smeared down the side. You didn't even wipe it off.
That's the thing though. Like when I
stopped
drinking alcohol, I actually wash my makeup off when I go to bed. So if that's the de-aging, it's not really the alcohol, but whatever.
It's just that we fucking wash it.
It's that I don't pass out. I actually have a night routine now.
I do too. And you can have a morning routine because when you wake up, you're not hungover.
Right.
So you're like, whoa, I'm taking care of myself for like the first time in how long?
And why are you? Oh, because I don't drink like a goddamn fish.
It was so much. I had periods. I was drinking like 3 bottles of wine a day. I'd have like my whiskey up on the shelf just in case, that wasn't hitting right. Then you could throw some shots in with whatever. And it's just like, oh my God, like what was I doing?
It's like you're taught, or
I like how this whole episode is just about drinking.
I know.
And how we shouldn't be drinking. It's like a giant PSA for no alcohol. YouTube, you cannot possibly demonetize this. We are like, no to drugs, no cocaine.
Get out there, kids, and do good.
Do good. Drink coffee. It's fine.
1 cup of coffee.
1 cup.
Then liquid IV.
Don't be like me. I'm addicted now because I didn't know the truth when I was younger. I started drinking coffee way too young, and now it's a problem.
I know.
But hey, I quit alcohol, so I have coffee.
1 thing at a time.
1 thing at a time. We're making moves here, but I'm getting older. It's getting slow. Okay, we gotta like set little goals. It's not so bad though.
Oh God, I love it.
I don't know. Oh, speaking of drinking, so this will be the first sober AVN that I've been to.
Oh.
Are you planning to go to AVN? Because we were talking before rolling that you were still thinking about it.
I'm not sure.
I think that you should come do a 15-minute live at the podcast booth.
That would encourage me to do.
For those who do not know, if you skipped through the beginning ads and intro message, naughty, Laura and I and the whole podcast crew, possibly even David, are going to be at AVN this coming year in January 2023. Is the 4th through the 7th, I think it's like a Wednesday through Saturday, usually.
What is it, Resort World?
Resort World, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have a booth and all that fun stuff, and it should be pretty fun.
Yes.
I don't know. I hope. I'm excited for conventions because I remember it was like so much fun, but it's going to be so strange, like not being wasted.
Right? I know.
It's going to be different.
It's crazy. It's like,
am I an adult?
Right?
I'm running a booth.
So I've always, for AVN, had an agent or been with an agency, right? So they would, take care of all of like your passes and the booth and blah, blah, blah. And then they're like scheduling the times and you come and sign and all that stuff. So the agency that I was with dissolved like a year and a half ago or so. And, I really didn't need an agent probably for the past 4 years. Just kind of a loyalty thing. Enjoyed my agent, that type of thing. So that's like weird for me for this AVN because I don't know where to be. I don't know what booths would allow me to sell, and how much, and if that's okay, or if I'm just supposed to, what I don't know. So,
well, I can put you in touch with some of the people that I know at AVN because I had the same thing, and I was like, because I'm not like the year before I was signing at the Brazzers booth, and then every year before that I had, the MFC table,
right,
and all that kind of stuff. Right. And this year people are like, "Are you going to AVN?" And I was like, I don't know how to get there.
How do I do it?
How do I do
how
it?
Does
so
it work?
I was like, yeah. Who do I contact to like be at their booth? How do I? And then I was like, I'll just get a booth. Fuck it, I'll do it myself.
I'll do my own thing.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited about it. But it's also like it's a lot. It's a lot to do. Luckily, Laura's guy is donating sound stuff and like saging and lighting, so that's going to be really cool.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's a lot to do. I have like 10 boxes of merch sitting out, like taking up half my living room right now.
For it? Oh, how January. Exciting.
I'll give you a shirt on the way out because they sent us some extra smalls.
Ooh, fun.
I ordered like, I don't think I ordered any extra smalls, but they're like, we accidentally printed 7. It's like 7. That's like a weird number. They're like, yeah, you can have them as super discount. And I was like, sure. I'm gonna
all right,
like my
thank
friends.
Yeah. I love it.
So it's like I was, trying to figure out sizing. I never know like what level of sizing to offer up to. So I feel like I put up a poll on my OnlyFans of like kind of basic, like there's only so many slots that you can choose on a poll on OnlyFans. And so it kind of stopped at like either XL or 2XL or something. And then I just expected people to like kind of comment their other sizing at the bottom. Some people were like, oh, it's not very inclusive. And I was like, I don't know. You can comment if you need bigger sizes. That's totally cool. Like, I don't want to order like too many of them. That's why I ordered like no smalls pretty much. I ordered like one small for me.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then got 7 extra smalls.
Right. That's what I did when I had shirts. I did, like 3 smalls and then like 20 medium and then the rest like large extra. And then I went up to 2XL.
Mm-hmm. I think I have 2XL, maybe 3XL. But I know I at least got 2XL, and I was wearing 1 extra large the other day on stream, and it hung halfway down my thigh. I was like, these are like dresses. They're so comfortable.
Yes.
Like big old dresses.
Oh yeah.
So good. Well, it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited for the AVN season. So yeah, we'll see.
Just have to make sure we don't get that AVN flu, or is it COVID this time around?
Right. Is it COVID?
Have you gotten COVID?
Not officially that I am aware of. I've never tested positive for it, but I felt like in January of 2020 I got very sick, and I felt like it was a possibility that it was COVID.
Mm-hmm. But since then,
I've had a couple little like I don't feel well, and
so like I'll just stay home. I don't need to
home remedy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a big go to the doctor. I don't like to rely on outsourcing. I usually always just find my own way.
I hate going to the doctor. I avoid it as like much as I can.
Yeah. So I found taking zinc and drinking tonic water, which tonic water tastes disgusting. So you just add some like OJ to it. But the quinine. Liquid IV. Sorry. Just kidding. Missed opportunities. It will... I don't care. This isn't even about COVID, but if you're not feeling well and you just like start taking that 1 zinc pill, some tonic water, it will cut your like recovery time in half, regardless of what's going on.
I have some zinc pills, but I do take them when I feel like...
Yeah, when you feel a little wonky.
Didn't know about the tonic water though. I thought that was just what it was called. I thought it was just sparkling water. I was like, this is really gross without flavor.
Yeah, no, it's
actually a tonic. Good to know.
Yes.
How do I not know anything about anything?
We'll give you a break.
Do you have content like plans for the new year, or do you have like anything kind of like upcoming in the new year for you that you're excited about?
Well, I just shot yesterday my Halloween content for
Halloween.
So I did. I'm Vampirella.
I saw that on your Instagram. Yes, I've done that before.
Yes,
so good.
Super fun.
It looks good on you. I like the mirror. Like,
thank you. So I shot at the Artisan.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which is like, that boutique hotel.
Yeah,
Are you familiar with it?
MFC used to have their MFC model meetup parties there.
Right. Mm-hmm. AVN did like a Halloween party there, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. Cool place, cool rooms. Not anywhere I would recommend staying the night at.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. It looks cool in the lobby, but I've never stayed there because anytime they had the meetup, I lived here. So it was like,
so no need to
go, but I heard from people it wasn't the most fantastic.
Yeah, it's all art themed. So I had the Michelangelo room, which was cool. Mm-hmm. So there's all these funky like framed mirrors all over the ceiling and stuff, which is cool. So it just has like a cool vibe for shooting photos or video, but like I said, I wouldn't stay the night there. But yeah, so I just did that, and Halloween's like my favorite. So I go all out. That's when I do my best.
My house would normally be completely decked in Halloween stuff in September.
Yes,
but since I'm not going to actually be here for Halloween, I made the mental note to myself to not unbox all of the Halloween boxes so that I could come home from Australia and take it all down to put up Christmas. And I'm just gonna go straight to Christmas in December. It'll be the first year I've never decorated.
You can be like Walmart.
It's perfect. Oh, Halloween is my favorite though. I love doing like the costume type stuff. I saw that you also shot with Allie.
Yes.
Allie Murphy.
I was just gonna bring So I actually saw the photos on your page, and then it dawned, I was like, God, these are gorgeous. I mean, all your photos are always gorgeous.
Thank you.
And then she like emailed me or messaged me on Instagram or something. Now I can't remember. I think it was Instagram.
Yeah,
and
they found me on Instagram.
She was just like, hey, we have a studio here, blah, blah, blah. Just gave me some info and was like, it's a free shoot. Your first one or whatever. So I just signed up and did it, and it was a blast. Great photos, and easy.
They're so fantastic. I
So
shot
good.
there, I guess, like shortly after you did, or maybe it was just like you shot with them while I was in Australia, because they mentioned you the last time I went to shoot.
Oh,
with
cool.
them.
Yeah. Well, we talked about you because I was like, yes, like I saw that. I was looking at some of her photos, and then I like saw like that it was Allie Murphy, and then I put it all together, and I was like, because I'm sure you get it. Like there's like photographers and all these different things. That
I get those all the time in the DMs. Like, I take photos. How much is your rate? And then you look at them, and they have like 157 followers.
Yeah.
And no interactions on their posts, and it's just like photographer. And you look at the photos, and you're just like, are these taken on an Android?
Yeah, what's going on?
It's basically like, what is your rate to come over to my hotel? I shoot some naked photos of you, and then you suck my dick. It's like veiled that.
Yeah.
Is what I feel like at that point. I'm like,
Do you escort?
I'm like, honey, don't ask, big
Right.
man.
You don't want to
afford it.
$10,000. Right.
$10,000 for a photo shoot, and I bring a team of security with me as well.
See what happens. You
And
never
you
know.
have to wear a chastity belt. You have to
And
wear
I get to hold the key. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So once I saw, I was like, oh, so Molly is like, has shot with these ladies. So it's all good. So yeah. So I shot, and like your name came up, and they were saying how you do a lot of content over there with them and stuff. So
Yeah, no, we haven't shot as much recently. She's been so busy. They have like a new mansion, I guess, in New York area that they've set up as like a full shoot house. They've been doing like renovating, just a bunch of other stuff. But I see what they're doing online. It looks amazing. They're killing it. So
yeah, they
it's
were
good to
doing
be able
some
to
cool
connect people that way.
They were doing some cool Halloween stuff, and I was tempted, but
Yeah, I did cool Halloween stuff with them last year.
yeah, I don't plan out stuff like this next year, like, because you were asking me about that. I don't know. I just like go with the flow of whatever, and like, I have like a family life and stuff, so I try to
One of the benefits of making your own content primarily.
Right. And so I'll try to like stockpile some stuff, and then, I get inspired. I kind of work best on the fly. Like, just like, oh, I have this idea, or, oh, I have time all of a sudden. The house is to myself, or whatever it may be, and then I'll just like do whatever.
No, my problem is over planning. I'm like,
Yeah.
like we just shot Cruella recently, and I planned that like 3 months ago. I've had like all of the stuff for it like sitting in the closet, like prepared for the time. Like,
Awesome.
or like the fact that I have all the merch for Avian already like sitting outside, taking up all the room in my house. Like, I'm like so over prepared that I get like stressed out by like, I'll get like things through in like varying levels of completion, and then be stressed out that the time has not yet come to do them, and so they're just languishing there while I'm being lazy. It's like, are you not doing 50 other things today?
You're fine. Just take it easy on yourself.
What is sleep? I
know.
don't know.
Rest. Get some rest. Yeah, I did see the Cruella picture. Very exciting.
Came out fun.
Love it.
That was just, so Laura's been shooting. We should do a content day.
Yeah,
this coming
definitely.
year.
Yeah, we should.
It'd be fun to do. We could do some stuff in December when I get back to you. Do some
Yeah,
holiday
that would be
themed
fun.
stuff. Laura's been shooting my content primarily for me, and it's been awesome. I got the new iPhone that I just dropped on the ground, and there's just photos from the iPhone.
Yeah, right?
Like, crazy. Like, what do you even need? And then the video we've been shooting just used a little Osmo gimbal thing, and looks fantastic.
Right.
So great. It's
Yeah,
like,
I don't have the... that's the 14?
yeah. The 14
Yeah.
Pro thing that's on the ground.
I have the 13 Pro that I've just been using for photos. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking about doing the 14. But yeah, I mean, the phones are crazy with what they can do.
Yeah, no, it's been wild. It's been fun to play with all that stuff. And then it's also cool, like, even just having a shoot day, especially with like Laura, and then anyone that wants to shoot with us, because we just like chill and vibe and have fun all day and just get through a bunch of content, and it's just fun. You know, it makes it a more enjoyable experience. It's not like, oh, you got to go to set and wait around for this and that and the other thing. You just kind of like jump into it. I usually have sets prepared ahead of time. Like the day before we did Cruella, I just set up the whole area for it. And then as soon as it was done, I took it all down.
Right.
It's good. You're done.
Yeah, I can't do the long days on set. Like I won't.
So much. Like, especially when it's girl, and you're just like, how?
Why?
How is it taking this long?
How? Why? And let's not do that.
It's so much, and I feel like it is so much time to get through one video, because it's like I can do a content day on my own and get through several.
Right.
And do a content day with Laura where she's shooting it for me, and I just have to do like the setup and all that, and she does my makeup and we get to chill. Then it's like, well, we get through like 10 times as much.
Right.
And you have a much better chill time doing it. Any time that you want to quit, you're just like, I'm done. I don't feel like doing anymore.
And I'm done. That's a wrap, folks.
Yeah. Let's order dinner and smoke.
Yeah. Yes. It's good stuff.
Well, where can everybody find you on the internets?
On the internets. Well, I do have a link tree, which is great. But my Instagram is at Eva Long Official. And in my bio is my link tree. I'm on Twitter at Eva Long L.
And we have OnlyFans too.
Yeah, OnlyFans, Eva Long XXX.
Cool. That's fantastic. Make sure that you check her out because Eva is fantastic. And I think that we really should make content to do that. It'd be fun to do like some... Do you do any Dom type stuff? Like mommy Dom?
I haven't gotten the opportunity to. But I'd like to, yes.
We can do like some mommy Dom stuff, but we can do like some JOIs and do all the things.
Oh, yeah.
That would be super fun. It'd be fun because we've only shot together once and you were just my mom.
Yeah,
and not my stepmom.
I didn't get naked on your set.
No, you didn't. It was funny because I always tell people like, how did she play your mom? Because she's like half your height. I was like, we never really stood next to each other. We were sitting in a car.
The car is my favorite.
Or you're standing over me.
Or like you and, because you guys are sitting on the couch and then Brad and I are mad parents all like, bah, bah, bah.
So it looks like they're looking down at us. And meanwhile, like Ella and I are like way up here. We're like as tall as Brad almost.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. That was such a trip. That day, you want to talk about long set days. I feel like I still owe you money for that day.
That was a long day, wasn't it? But you know what? When it's around certain people, somehow it's better. It's easier. It was fine. And then the pictures were fun. I think, remember we took pictures at the end, like family photo pictures. It's hilarious.
In the garage in front of the white screen. Yeah. We're all just like... David, I'll have to find some of these photos and send them to you. Remind me.
It's freaking amazing.
It's so good because it was like in the movie Step Brothers, they had like all the promotional stuff was very much that old like weird family photos.
Yeah,
from the 90s or 80s.
Yeah.
So funny.
I think we recreated it very good.
I think it was really fun. I mean, hey, it was nominated for featurette that year.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was
pretty fun. I knew it wasn't going to win. It's just fun to be mentioned. To be
fun
like,
look
at the thing.
Yeah.
It was the first thing. And now I've done nothing productive since then as far as AVN worthy.
Right.
I have all these ideas. I'm like, I want to write so many scripts and blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, oh, the podcast.
Way better.
It's way better. Actually,
way
really
better, girl.
Because it reminds me of all the things I loved about camming, which was just like sitting there and talking with people, especially when I had other cam girls with me. We would just have conversations like with each other and with other people. And oh my God, before I forget and we leave, we'll give your links again at the end. I forgot. We never get these, so this is very monumental. We got a voice message.
Oh.
We never get them, so this is from John.
Hello, Molly. This is John, a longtime fan, first-time voice messenger. Really appreciate all your hard work on the content and on the podcast. I love seeing you and Laura together. You're the Wonder Twins, in my opinion. Quick question for you. I was just wondering for content if there's any special exercises or stretches that you do to prep it. I'm always interested in the behind the scenes. Hope you're having the most wonderful weekend. You've earned it, and I look forward to hearing you on the podcast.
You are so sweet, John. Thank you so much. That's actually a really good question.
Right?
Like, it wasn't like, How many fingers can you fit in your mouth? I don't know. I've never tried before.
Let's try
right now. Fuck it, we'll do it live. So stretches before. So I like to do where you sit on the ground, and it's basically like I cannot do the splits, but you sit on your butt, and I spread my legs as far as I can, and I kind of like just lean forward. I would show you. Okay, hang on. So it's like this, but imagine more spread, but I can't spread more because there's chair, right? And then you lean forward like this, but you're on the ground. Does that make sense? Are you following me? Because that really stretches out like your hips and your booty and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, girl.
And then the more that you kind of slowly stretch that way, the lower you can get and the further you can spread your legs as well. So that's kind of good because as far as like bending over, if you're doing like toy riding or even, you know, I'm sure like boy girl and stuff like that, you got to stretch that out because let's be honest, like a lot of the times in porn, at least some porn that I've seen, women do a lot of work because that's the ad sellers bouncing on the dick.
Yes.
Or like, you know, get your head motions.
Or just like, you have to be bent over and your leg is up, but you have to look at the, you know what I mean?
You gotta like look back at it, you know what I mean?
Look back at it. We have to have your face in the shot, even though we're focusing on your vagina.
I think I talked about this with Lauren Phillips because it's always that weird thing of like, look back at it when you're writing on it. Like, ew, I don't want to look at you. I want to look at my ass. Like,
Exactly.
so I like to do that one. I also like to just stand up, bend slowly forward, like from your waist. You kind of stretch out your lower back that way until you're all the way touching the floor and try to keep your legs as straight as you can. Kind of push your butt back so that your legs are really, you know, as straight as they possibly can be. It stretches out your hammies and your glutes.
Yep.
And then of course lower back, which is good.
Yep.
There's one I like to do where I stand like against a wall and just kind of put your arms up and keep your kind of like bend forward, so you're stretching out kind of back here in your shoulders and your back, and then you kind of just push your butt out from the wall and try to get your chest to touch the wall. That's just a really good opener for that. So yeah, that's stretches I do. If I get kind of, especially on a big content day, I like to break out the yoga wheel. I just kind of stretch that out. I got a heated one too. Have you ever tried a heated foam roller?
No.
You want to try it when we're done rolling?
Maybe.
Okay, we can heat it up. Heck yes. Oh, good. So make sure to follow Eva on Instagram. Thank you so much, John Saul, for leaving your voice message. And I encourage everybody to leave voice messages. They're my absolute favorite. I love hearing your guys' and ladies' voices. And I love hearing your stories. You have a story to share. You have questions that you have about life, industry, relationships, any of that kind of stuff. Or if you need me to personally tell you to go to therapy and that's the push that you need, call in. You can also leave emails at twndpodcast@gmail.com if you hate the sound of your own voice, much like I do, but yet I have a podcast, so I think you can leave a voice message. And make sure that you share with a friend. We hope to see you guys at AVN, and I'll see you next week. I mean, not next week for me because I'm filming another one of these later, but you'll see it next week. And so I'll see you next week. And we'll all see each other next week. But make sure you subscribe so we can see each other next week.